I'm gonna slowly start. So greetings everyone, I'm Yev. I'm a QA senior at Agiliway. I have more than 7 years of experience in software testing. It was specifically in healthcare project. Now I'm deeply passionate about the evolution of our field and the exciting potential of AI to transform manual testing. Today's webinar is a reflection of my journey leveraging AI to enhance and elevate manual testing practices. Over the time, I've witnessed firsthand how AI has been instrumental in shifting manual testing into a new era, as I call it, the autonomous testing. This experience has been nothing short of transformative, offering invaluable insights into how we can adapt and improve our testing process to achieve great efficiency, effectiveness, and accuracy. Throughout this session, I'll share real-world examples and actionable strategies that illustrate the power of AI in enhancing manual testing. Let's start with how I've used the AI to elevate my manual testing routines. I have selected 3 tools that transformed my workflow. They are specifically ChatGPT, Claude, and Postbot. In my flows, Claude leverages advanced NLP to ingest large test data files, analyze the information, and provide recommendations to enhance testing coverages and quality. It excels at processing the diverse datasets and offering insights through conversational interactions. It's really easy to chat with it. Where I've configured ChatGPT to auto-generate test run reports, whenever I test something, it can file a bug for me on a template, and it can also compose verification documents based on those templates. Postbot, from the other hand, has already been set up with a Postman. It was a game changer for me. It is easy to accelerate API test creation with the conversational test generation. I believe that integrating AI into manual testing is the future. These tools empower testers to work smarter and more efficiently, ultimately leading to a better software quality. Modern AI systems are rapidly progressing, It's offering test teams new opportunities, along with risks to consider. I will highlight some of them based on my small research from several resources. So the potential benefits is often called out to be that it is easy to automate repeated test case generations. It can draft a large amount of API test cases for new endpoints. For example, it can accelerate creation of initial test artifacts when you just started a project and you need a draft of comprehensive test plan framework or test strategy. It can expand the test coverage with diverse test cases. It can generate a lot of interesting negative test case scenarios. It can create boundary tests, for example, and much more. As for the as for the risks, people usually say that AI lacks nuanced human judgment needed for complex decision testing. Also, AI outputs still require extensive proofreading and bug fixing, and of course it's true. Over-reliance on AI versus building in-house skill depth. And of course, job loss fears. Manual testers will be vanished because of AI. But of course, we're gonna talk about all of them in this presentation. I've specifically chosen this I'm specifically chosen this quote from a guy who works at PayPal. He said that AI is the best position currently as an enhancing collaboration technology, not a replacement technology. The consensus recommends a balanced approach, combining AI strengths with human oversight, validation, and course correction. Based on my hands-on experience, I see tremendous potential combining AI efficiency with complementary human creativity. This allows us to amplify productivity without replacing our irreplaceable testing team members. So let's proceed with setting up and using our chatbots. I've prepared several different scenarios. We will start with ChatGPT. It will take a moment to load. Of course, today it's something is with internet connection. So with the ChatGPT, I most oftenly use it as a test generating tool. At the very beginning of this conversation, a year ago or so, I asked it specifically to act like a report generator for manual tests on API and UI levels. I will describe it in more depth and demonstrate it later on. I'll proceed with Claude. As Claude has more advanced technology in NLP, it can work with large amount of data in a files, so you can upload anything in it and ask it to analyze it, to provide some feedback and do enhancement. As for the Postbot, it is already inside the Postman. If you have a desktop application or using web, it is always here. You can click it and see a small dialog window, and it will be ready to go once you set up your collections and inside of your workflow. So I guess we will start with the demo. First will be ChatGPT. I will demonstrate you how I use it daily. The thing that is most interesting to me is how it understands when I need a bug report or test report, or I just found a new bug. So for example, let's say I found a new bug. So I will type here that new bug was found. Let's say a server error. When I try to log in. When trying to log in, let's say on Firefox, with invalid credentials. Yeah, also, when you're typing, it is not that easy to blindly type, especially if you want to do it really quick. But be aware that all the ChatGPT models and all other models can withstand that. They do not really care about the grammar. They understand the context, so no hassle about it. Just type whatever you need, it will understand it. So it is with invalid credentials. I will put down that it was, for example, staging UI. I don't need Chrome here. And it was today, 12/12/2023. Now it might take a minute because ChatGPT today is in a lazy mode. So I can go ahead and start working with Claude. Once it is ready, we will come back to ChatGPT and check what was the response. My assumption here is that it should directly understand that it's a bug report, and I haven't provided any steps to reproduce. Nor have I stated expected results. So it should understand it and ask me to provide it. Yeah, now it is struggling to load my response, but let's proceed with Claude. I've used it for several different things when I was preparing this demonstration. So what I've done is I have a file exported from Jira with real life scenarios with those bugs that I created during the several months or so. It was generated and uploaded here, and I asked it to analyze the file with the bug that I created recently on a healthcare project, because it is specific. This specification would allow it to understand what are the main criteria and main risks that I need to check and I need to fulfill when I create those bugs, and give me an analyze on my test approaches. So it gave me this, that I have a positive aspects. I provide detailed steps to reproduce the issue, steps to reproduce. I specify the expected and actual result really clearly, and comparison help determine its behavior. If it is incorrect, all the text is too long, so I will go on the improvements because it is what I was looking for. It advised me that I need to add specific test data values used in the steps that could make reproduction more straightforward, because I tend to create those steps without any preconditions, and it is really hard to understand this system if you're not part of it. It also advised me to capture browser developer tool network logs for API bugs that might help with the debugging. It has done the full analysis of this file, and I can ask for some specific question here. So I asked, like, give me exact steps to improve my testing based on this data. And it said, like, add sample data values, capture network walks, break down steps, outline expected result. We can ask even more. I can ask like, what is the probability of those bugs being reproduced, right? Reproduced again, and how can I avoid it? As we see, Claude is more responsible today than ChatGPT. Let's check if it's been working again, and I guess not. We'll wait a minute or so again. And in the background, I also have some backups. It is Bart and Chat from Bing. This is just for the reason if I need anything from ChatGPT or Claude and it is not responding. So it gave me the analyze based on my query. It says that likelihood, bugs related to core workflow functionality like order creation, user onboarding, and stuff must be covered. Ways to prevent regressions. So it gave me the full list of things I need to do to prevent those bugs from reproducing again. So while I was doing such thing, I would also talk about some things that help me to be productive and some, let's say, productivity hacks. Because beyond main testing tools, AI can assist you in such way that you wouldn't even imagine. I asked some of this chat, I cannot really find it, of how I can improve my productivity with, let's say, external mouse. So it said like, okay, those gestures that are on macOS, they are not available for you if you're not using a trackpad. However, if I will click on my mouse wheel and go up, I can do the same as on the trackpad. If I want to switch to the left or right side, I can do it with an external buttons. So there is a specific tool for that. It's called Mac Mouse Fix. It is free, and it was really useful for working with external keyboard and external mouse. You may have also noticed that I'm using the shorter versions of the text I want to type. I use auto replacement. For example, I'm also always using NBF, new bug found. Or for example, ECU, if I find something on staging on Chrome or in UI, it is the default settings for my testing environment. We can also go with something more sophisticated like AACFL, when I want to say that all acceptance criteria from the list and I want to specify them furthermore are fulfilled. So in that way, I can type more text in a minute and I can create, for example, a bug report much quicker. Let's check on ChatGPT whether yes, it is currently unstuck. So I said like, yeah, I found a new bug. And because this bug was already mentioned in this chat, it understands what are the steps needed and what is the expected result. Because I was testing this request before this demo, and it already has those things. Let's try and tell him that I passed the test, passed UI. So I want to see a test result based on my query. Passed result, and I will say that AACFL. Oh, I'm sorry. And now I need a list of user stories, all the acceptance criteria that I usually take from real Jira project. As I cannot do it now, I will simply ask Bart to create a new, let's say, to create new user story for, let's say, login page in an e-market app that sells, let's say, socks. And it should be, let's say, in Canada. Yeah, I guess that's all I need. Let's ask it to do just that. We will have a full user story with acceptance criteria. It should also bonus features. Yeah, it is everything that I wanted from the user story is prefilled here. So we will just copy it and we will tell ChatGPT that I've already tested this user story, which is totally made up. If it will unstuck, yeah, unblocked again. So everything from this list, from this acceptance criteria are fulfilled. And I do not have any bugs. So let's say no issues found. And I will state the date. What I want to see is the full test report that would be possible to copy and paste to Jira issue and be done with it. It will be good enough for your product owner, for your PM, even for developers. They will understand what you tested and what is exactly working. And I guess we will give it a minute or so, because it is for some reason incredibly slow today. Again, we can do the same thing in any other chatbot like Claude, Bart, whatever you want to use. The only reason here is that I've set up my template here. It understands the requirements on my prompt. So whenever I'm saying that I found a new bug or I tested something, it will give me the template I've set it before. It is not set here, but we will try to do the same just by copy and pasting the same prompt here once it is unstuck. But in the meantime, let's try and do something more interesting. For example, as ChatGPT is currently unavailable, we will switch back to BART. But again, this will work mostly the same in any other AI model. And now what we can also do is to ask AI model to help us in generating test cases. So let's say we have created a made-up user story and we want to do a draft for test cases. So I will ask it to please create basic test cases to validate this user story. I want it to be, let's say, in JSON format for a reason that, I don't know, maybe I want to import it inside of X-Ray or any other test management tool, whatever. It can be CSV, it can be plain text, whatever. I will specify that I want to have something, let's say, not standard checks, but something more sophisticated. And also make it in a test case format to have what we need. We actually need to have steps to reproduce and expected result, right? Now again, you can simply copy and paste it and be done with it. But as we already discussed it, you need to review this because the machine learning doesn't always understand what is the specific needs for your project, what the clients will do with your system. So if you feel like the output is not what you wanted. So the first thing, this is very important. It understands that this is Canadian-friendly login page. I guess it should also check that there is a second language accessible here, but we will check it. It provides us steps, expected results, test case 1, test case 2, test case 3, and so on. Now what we want to do, we want to ask it, how can I check the security, for example? The security is simple tools like Postman, for example. That's it. This is everything I got. Create some test cases. Yep. So again, we have a draft. We can test using Postman. We can send some post requests and be done with it. Now, what I wanted to do is ask it to make it in JSON format or shift it to JSON format. So it will be easier to copy it, and maybe it is more applicable for your project. Again, you can use CSV, plain text, whatever works for you. It's always just a matter of one prompt, and you will have the format that you really need. Let's again, I guess this is going to be the story of this demo. Let's check on ChatGPT, and it is stuck still. So let's proceed with the next sim. I guess what we're most struggling with, and I guess most can relate, is high-level test documentation, because creating big test strategy or creating those big test plans is not always an option for you, or you simply don't have time for that. So what we can do, we can go to a chat, and again, I'm doing it in one chat. I'm not creating a specific one, which is highly which would be better actually to do it in a way so it can understand the context of your dialogue in one chat, not doing this mess in all of doing this mess in the same chat. But again, I will ask it to create a draft of test strategy for a banking mobile app, but let's change it and let's say healthcare app. For a healthcare app, covering of core flows, but we need healthcare app that, let's say, sells some prescriptions. So now this will be only a draft. You cannot use it yet because it is only based on your small request. It doesn't know the context of your application. It doesn't understand what are the core functionality and so on and so forth. So what we can do is to make it ask as many questions as needed to understand the context of your application. So I will do ask at least 2-3 questions for each topic. Oh, I'm not typing. Okay, ask at least 2 or 3 questions on each title to get a better context of my project. Of course, I will not answer them all because it's gonna be a long journey, but we can ask question about why. Yeah, it says that it doesn't have a context, but it didn't really understood that I wanted to have a specific amount of questions. I guess Claude would do it better, and I believe I had this chat already created. No, this was about the user story, but nevertheless, we can go and ask, we already have this test strategy, right? Now we want to refine it. Okay, so we will specify like refine the strategy to reflect the needs, let's say, of UI testing. I don't know, like UI testing is more important here. Let's say it's not true, but we will do this task for this AI model, and we'll see how it refers to us. Now, yeah, it's doing job. It's asking questions. It is actually asking me a question and saying what are the things I need. So I don't have time to, and I wouldn't waste time on asking all of them. What I want to show next is that it is also capable of creating a risk management for you if you need it. Again, the prompt would be similar, practically similar. I will ask you, I need to create a risk registry document based on the information as followed. The project, let's say is heavily UI loaded. It has, let's say, 3 main portals. And the backend, let's say the backend is on PHP. The team is in different countries. So the reason I'm doing it is I wanted to divide our risk management into the parts where it is project-based and team-based. And also ask me at least 2 questions. 2 questions before you would give me the full document. So now it should ask me as many questions about the project as it needs to understand the context. Yeah, and it is currently doing it. It would better understand the context of your application. What are the needs? What are the features that you have, and where you should put the most risks that it can currently see. After that, you can copy the whole document. Again, we can go prompt by prompt, specify it more and more, and have a lot more information provided here. It's just a draft, it's just a brief to give you a brief understanding of what it is capable of. And again, this thing is huge. There's a lot of different prompts that you can do with it. It's even get something like do it better. I will tip you 10%, let's say. So according to some researchers, it should do the job better because it understands the human interactions. But my goal is to be helpful. Yeah, so Bart wouldn't fall for this trick, but ChatGPT and Claude would definitely be a victim of such a behavior. So now, yeah, it is unstuck, and we can see that it understood that it was a test result of past UI user story. It states that it was tested on staging, the date, the tool I was using, because it understood that as it was for UI and I'm a manual QA, I was using Chrome browser because it is default one. If it was API test, it would understand that it is in Postman. So it gets all these things in test details. It understands what I was testing and how it behaves. It says that it is available for users. It is friendly Canadian theme design, and so on. So another thing I would like to show you really quickly is the postbot. This thing is already implemented inside of your Postman. Let's say I have all of them mostly pre-filled. So what we can do with Postbot is we have a vast collection of some requests and we need tests for them. So we clicking on Postbot, we clicking on test for response. And now it will auto-generate some tests for us. Just some basic one, of course, it is not, it will not replace some automation QAs. Yeah, and for some reason it doesn't want to do it in a request I've chosen. So I will show you an example of how it did with a post request. It created several tests that currently some of them are failing because I was working with them in a manner that I didn't actually have something in my mind just to test if it's possible or not. So what I can do now is I can see that some tests are failing for some reason. I can go ahead and try to fix them. It will automate everything that was highlighted, and tests should be fixed. And again, let's check it if the send request, yeah, now it has something failed, but I guess something is changed in the body. Yeah, because this data should be also auto-generated. What we can do here is on the whole collection level, we can generate tests for every request we have. So you don't need to go one by one. You can just click on one button. You can generate those tests. Of course, if it will be successful, is supported only for JSON and XML response. That's strange. For some reason, something went wrong. I'm sorry for this little occasion. I will show you then those that were created successfully. And now we can do some basic requests for that. We can ask it to add a test that would check whether the response has some data in it. Of course, this is not the real one. You wouldn't actually want to use something like that. But we can try and ask it to add this test. Again, it added some test, but not in this request. So I will explain it in a method that will be more or less understandable. Whenever the tests are auto-generated or created by your request, you will see them in this tab with the responses. One of the things that is really great here is the visualization. You created some order. For example, it is something basic that I've downloaded from the internet. You've created some order and you want to see what was in the response body, right? You don't want to go through all this text. Just click on visualize. It is also available here as a quick button. It will visualize you in a table. After that, you can ask it to add or remove any column here, to change colors, to, I don't know, if you want to increase the font. It will do everything you want just by a simple prompt and request. It is that easy to do. It understands human language, doesn't need any. So I'm not holding any, secret knowledge. It's just a trial and error. You would ask any AI model to do what you need. If you don't like it, you can refine it by asking it more. The thing I guess is most working for me is asking the model why the response is not what I asked for, and it will try to fix that. So in summary, and yeah, we have ChatGPT is live again. Every documentation and every report I'm creating on a project is always with AI technologies used. I cannot remember the last time that I had to create something by manually. So if you need to create a document, a test report, if you need to decide what test management tool you want to use, what are the pros and cons, you can ask any of these models. They are free. They are really responsive, except for ChatGPT today, for which I'm sorry. So I guess in summary, this presentation walks through practical strategies and demonstrations for responsibly leveraging leading AI chatbots to enhance manual software testing. To conclude the session discussion and demonstration, use AI responsibly and use it in manual testing with a great caution. I wanted to share some final thoughts and recommend reasonably combine the efficiency of AI-assisted workflows with the creativity of human testers. Balanced responsibility integration is the key here. There is no way you're gonna use only ChatGPT or any other model without refining and editing it. Of course, you need to validate auto-generated outputs. You need to fix inaccuracies throughout feedback loops. Don't just blindly trust AI. Encourage testing teams to upskill on high-value analytics tasks as repetitive work gets really automated. Maintain oversight of critical thinking around risks and mitigations as AI supports accelerating test cycles. You can explore a ChatGPT, Claude, Postbot. I didn't even start to talk about how any companies created their own AI models. For example, Google just created their new Bard was powered by Gemini now, just a couple of days from now. I believe it's gonna happen tomorrow. It will be accessible for everyone. Microsoft is using Bing inside of their search engine, so you can even create some images. You can ask it to go through the web and check for any information that is that you're currently searching for and cannot find. So feel free to explore where such responsible ethical AI integration might create capacity for advancing quality initiative across testing cycles and automation maturity stages at your organization. I guess this is the time then to ask some questions if you have any, and if you are, please write them. I'm sorry, write them in the chat, and I will answer them. I'm sorry. Yeah, I will wait a couple minutes. If no questions will arise, I guess we can end this meeting earlier. Otherwise, if you need to have the presentation, for example, or I can even share those links for those specific chats that I created, it will be working for you as well as it does for me. You will have to obey the template, provide the information that you wanted to refine in a way that will suit you most, and it will increase your productivity and maybe even give you a better understanding of such things. You can really ask it for any topic that you're not really good at. It will specify all the knowledge you need. It can give you books, links to any websites, and so on. About privacy and data, which could be sensitive to. Yeah, that's actually true. It is not really advised to use anything from the production. It is, of course, you cannot share any privacy data because all the AI technologies are taught on those data. So if anything goes there and you're in that case, you might have some issues. So be aware and always communicate this thing with your client, with your product manager, project manager, or whoever's responsible for that. But the thing that would help you is to try and change every sensitive data in a way that you will ask the same meaning, but with a different words. The question engineering is the key to getting the right answers. Yeah, you're right, Paul. I guess the skill we all need now, from the point where it is easy to ask anything from AI, is to get the skill of prompt engineering, because asking some silly questions will not work. You cannot go to ChatGPT, for example. What is the right question to ask? Yeah, yeah, that's right. I guess some of them evolving. You can see, for example, in BART, I put it some gibberish, and it said like, what you've put here is some idiom in your language, and it is a silly joke or something like that. The more sophisticated model you use, the more human-like it will feel. It can give you some jokes. It can better and better prompts. Yeah. Actually, I'm constantly checking for some, ticks and trips. There's a lot of, I guess it is on a GitHub or GitLab. They've created a bigger repository with all the prompts divided into the categories, which would be for, salesmen, for QA engineers, for developers, etc., etc. It understands the context, and it evolves in a way that you're used to. For example, I had one chat that I was using a lot, and for several months I wasn't using it for some reasons. I changed to Claude or something like that. It got updated, and then suddenly I got what I needed. Just changing nothing, I got actually what I wanted it from. Yeah, the latest thing I heard is when I tried to use it with BART, but BART is not, haven't fooled for that. If you would say that you will tip this AI with some smaller amount of money or some percentage of money, it will do a better result. If you ask it today, I believe I saw that if you will pursue and persuade the AI that it is not winter now, but it is still autumn, and or it was maybe not autumn, maybe it was spring, and in spring we are currently and we are typically creating more text, we are typing more, it understands this scene. And if you say, if you will tell it that it is spring, not winter, it will give you more text in response. But you can set a longer response just in settings, just in settings. I guess so, yeah, there's a lot of things to figure out because I guess they're evolving too fast. I cannot keep up with them. I was using ChatGPT and Claude for the most amount of my work needs. After that, Google announced that now you can go to BART, if I'm not mistaken, and BART is from Google, right? They said that they're gonna power it by Gemini, and it's going to be all in one. It's like ChatGPT 4 model, but for free. You can create videos, you can create pictures, you can ask it whatever you want, you can upload a file and it will analyze it. It can do so much stuff just for free, just, I don't know, to make a competitor to OpenAI, or maybe just to show them what are they capable of. So yeah, there's a lot of things to figure out. I guess this is the call for action. If you haven't started using those tools, it is the time, or maybe it is just a small small advice from my side. Just try and use it. If you're having some difficulties and you don't understand how to fix it, ask the model itself. If the response is not what you expected, ask what is the reason the response is not what you asked for, or refine it and say, like, I want to see it in a this template, give it an example. What I done actually in Claude was really interesting. I copied all this information from ChatGPT, the whole history chat, and I've put it into this chat. Not this one actually, but I guess I cannot show it now because there's some sensitive data from the project. But the thing is, it was in one text file, and it understood it correctly how it needs to act. So the next thing I did, I just copied it and put a request. I said like a new bug was found, and it gave me the exact same template without any refinement. So it understands the context. It is again, it is a library, the biggest library, I guess, to the point of the human interactions, of how human describe things, creating some articles, doing some work, creating those how-tos and so on. It knows all this information and it tries to use it at their best possibility. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. If your guys okay, and there's nothing else for you to ask, we'll wait a couple minutes, maybe a minute or so, and we can end the call. So it was nice seeing you. I wonder how to ask questions without giving a structure on the project or some business logic. Again, try creating a new chat. Tell him that you wanted to act like a test helper and explain what you wanted, what the output you seek for. For example, tell the model that you're working on a project that in, let's say, bank account, in a bank domain, right? You're working with some financial systems. You're seeking for creating a document for test strategy or test cases or whatever. You cannot explain the whole structure due to some documents you've signed for, but ask the AI to give you the list of questions that you need to specify to the AI so it would understand you better. Again, whenever you feeling that you cannot do the prompt, you cannot compose a prompt, ask the model itself. Say, I need this. I need to see a full report, for example, but I don't know how to explain it to you. And say, like, from a human perspective, give me some advices, give me some prompts that already worked. It will give you, it is like talking to another person, except it is not a person, it is a library of those requests and all the information from the internet. I hope that helps and answered your question, Bogdan. Build some flowchart with state transition diagram. I have, actually, I did it quite through True AI, of course. Yeah, well, actually, I had such occasion just recently. We were redoing the transition chart in Jira in statuses, and it was really tricky to understand how it should work. So I actually went to, I believe it was Bart, and said that I need to create a new transition diagram for statuses. I got him a list of statuses. I asked to give it the proper names for transitions. Maybe we're talking about different things, but I will explain it on the example I had. So I asked it to give those transitions a proper name, to get a full transition diagram. And I wanted to be in a format that I could export to Jira itself. It didn't do the job from the first try, of course, so it was a couple of editings and prompts to refine it, but it is fully capable of creating a flowchart and transition diagram. You just need to explain it. Sometimes you need to explain what type of the output you want. So let's say you want it in a JSON format or CSV format or plain text or just in a let's say .csv or .css, whatever. It doesn't understand what is the flowchart sometimes, and I guess it depends on the model you're using. But it understands when you're saying that I need this format, this file format, then it will create it for you, and it will respect the file format and the language it needs to be done in. Have you ever used AI tools in Notion? I'm not using Notion actually. I am a fan of Visual Studio. I don't know why. Maybe I should switch to Notion as well, but it's a historical thing. I was using it here, but again, I tried using some sophisticated stuff like creating AI tool based on and that would run on your computer to generate some pictures, to do some, I guess, Facebook made it open source. So LLM model was open source, but again, it was kind of hard to understand all the dependencies and not that easy to set it up. As for the AI tools in Notion, do you mean something that would help you write the code? Because if it is the closest I was to creating my own code is in Postman, when it creates tests for you or scripts. Or as I said, I'm a manual QA. I do not have any experience in creating any code or tests automated. The best was in Postman, and it seems like it's doing its job. Some scripts that I've created to generate some data randomly and set it as variables was really useful for creating some generic, it was kind of smoke test and kind of regression test suite. So whenever we start the application, update the application, we can run full set of those tests, and they were fully created. They were fully created in Postman. Notion, it is like word processor in the web. No, I guess not. I will check it. Thanks. Yeah, I guess I will open it in another window and check it again. Those technologies are evolving so fast, you wouldn't even have time. Oh, I'm sorry, something happened. Hear me? Because I thought like my internet connection. Oh yeah, I thought my internet connection got lost. Yeah, that's okay. You can store documents there and so on and so forth. I guess I used kind of similar thing. I do not recall the name, but there's a whole bunch of them. If you would use Google or any AI tool to give you a list of latest AI tools, there's a lot of stuff like that. There's even, I guess, PDF DPT or PDF chat or chat PDF, something like that. Yeah, where you can upload a big big files with PDFs. It will analyze it and you can ask questions. So people use it to summarize some books, especially if you want to learn something new or just for fun. I used it, I guess, to check, to parse the text and to check whether the data was fulfilled correctly. There's actually a lot. I guess there's even a newsletters that you can receive each Monday with the latest AI tools for the week. So I guess it is a matter of weeks when we have a new AI technology, especially with those models releasing for free. Yeah, so it's fun. Sometimes, of course, it gets you more time to set it up once, of course, and then you will use it for as much as possible. There are some restrictions. Be aware that if you're using free models, for example, ChatGPT would be sometimes slow in response. If you're talking about Claude, what I found actually was really frustrating for me because there is actually a limit in one chat. So once you exceeded the limit, the history of this chat is preserved, but you cannot type anything in it. So if you're already set it up, you cannot use it anymore. You will have to do copy pasting into another chat and do it from the start. If you're using something, Bean is now it is I guess it is one of the sophisticated one. It gets really good responses to you, but it is limited for 5 dialogues in one chain. So when the amount of dialogue from you and from the chat exceeding 5, you have to start the new chat. But again, this is all because it is a free model and you need to pay for the premium for that. Maybe you should also consider that, especially if it is really profitable for your project. Again, talk about it with your client first. I guess first would be with the project manager if there is a need for that, because this data privacy stuff is really a thing to be worried about. But for your small home projects or just for your own benefits, yeah, you can start using it right away. Just be sure that you're not sharing anything that would harm your project or yourself. I guess that's it. Don't see any more questions. So, yes, thank you too. I'm glad I was kind of help. If you would have any more questions, there's a slide with our contacts. Oh, I should have checked all of them. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you will need to contact us, you can do a screenshot or you will get this presentation afterwards. Any other information can be found on our website. So feel free to ask any questions. I was glad to share some experience with you, and it was really helpful to get this webinar today. So thank you guys. I hope you will have a good day, good rest of the day, and really productive week. Thank you. Yep, you too.